Peace, Chem family. It's me, Bana Set, your African holistic health nurse for Kemetic Wellness, and I'm back with another video. So welcome and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about decolonizing your diet. And today's video is actually going to veggie back on the last video that I did, okay? The last video I did was called They're Trying to Kill Us, and the title of that video was based on a documentary that I saw recently about how the food industry is killing us, essentially, okay? And I broke down 4 different ways that they do it. Hi to everyone who's coming in. Peace to Alternative Knowledge Science, Dua, Eden Rose, okay? Magoni, okay, waves to all of you. Wave as you're coming in, okay? So in that last video, what I talked about is the 4 steps that they use to actually kill us with food, okay? The first was disconnecting us from the land, okay? That was through colonization and slavery, right? So disconnecting us from the land which we use to plant our food. Peace to you, Eden Rose, okay? So obviously if you do not have access to your land to grow your food, you're not going to have as much control over what you eat, right? Which leads to step 2, which is changing the diet. So because they had control over our food, they did not feed us the foods that we were used to, the things that we kept, things we need, heard this about diet. Okay, Dua. I'm going to try to speak without looking at the comments as much, and then I will get to the comments later because I do get distracted sometimes, okay? So, where was I? Right, so the second step was in changing our diet. So the nutrient-dense foods that we had when we were living off of the land and we were planting and growing our own food and going to the natural markets that we had in our communities, that was no more, okay? We had no more control over our food, and what they exchanged for those nutrient-dense foods was a lot of cheap processed foods, which is what we're still eating to this day. And of course, after eating that type of diet for a specific amount of time, it really took even 1 or 2 generations for this to happen. We started to get sick. And that led to step number 3, which was bringing in their own modern doctors and hospitals, right? And of course, their doctors and hospitals never offer a real cure for anything, okay? Their solution is always pharmaceuticals and surgery, and it keeps you in this trap of being sick, going back to the doctor to try to soothe symptoms instead of actually getting to the root of your issue. And then step 4, the last, which is to miseducate you, to tell you that there's no cure for anything, to never explain to you how to actually reverse the issues that are happening in your body through nutrition and through lifestyle changes. So those are the 4 steps that I talked about. If you want to hear about that in detail, go back to the last video after you watch this one, of course, okay? So, as one of my teachers used to say, if someone has a plan to oppress you, you need to have a plan to unoppress yourself. So in this video, I'm going to talk more in detail about the ways that you can reverse this, okay? So we're actually going to go in the same steps but backwards, right? So the first thing that you want to do to decolonize your diet is to educate yourself. It's to educate yourself, and that's what we're doing here today, okay? So education is meant to be specific to the group of people who are being educated, okay? A lot of us have a different idea about education, and our idea about education is also colonized. So a lot of us believe that when we go to these good schools that are not meant to educate us based on the issues in our specific community, that we're getting a good education, which is not true. This is why you have so many highly educated Black people who graduated from Harvard, who graduated from Yale, Columbia, all of their top universities. Yet the conditions in our community have not changed. In fact, a lot of them have gotten worse, right? Why is that? Because a lot of you who think that you're highly educated, you're actually highly miseducated. Your education is meant to further their society. It's meant to further American society or Western society. You were not educated on the issues in your community and how to solve them, which is what education is meant to do. Okay? Other groups of people, for example, Chinese, Indian, Jewish communities, not only do they go to these schools, but they also have their own cultural education. So they're not only getting a Western education, they're also educated on their culture, the needs of their culture. And so they use that education in order to push the culture forward. The majority of us do not have an African-centered base or African-centered schooling where we learn the needs of our global community, okay, of the African diaspora, right? Now, in terms of educating yourself on nutrition, the first place that I would tell you to start is to start by watching documentaries, okay? Start by watching documentaries. This was the first thing that opened my mind when it comes to food, the food industry, and how food was actually affecting my body. The first documentary that I watched was Super Size Me. Super Size Me. And it's funny because recently I saw that the producer of that movie passed. May he rest in peace, okay? But that was the first documentary that I saw, and it blew the lid off of, you know, the veil of ignorance over my eyes about what I was eating. If you don't know about that one, that particular documentary was about McDonald's, okay? I don't know if y'all remember back in the day that McDonald's used to have this option to supersize whatever food you got, right? So that's the name of the documentary, Super Size Me. And this man, he was eating a normal, I would say like a whole foods kind of diet. His girlfriend who he was living with was a vegetarian, so he had a lot of plant-based meals as well. And he did an experiment. Started off the experiment where he got full blood work, doctors, tests, assessment, all of that, got a clean bill of health before he did this experiment. And after he did that, the experiment was that he would eat McDonald's for 3 meals a day. 3 meals a day, every single meal, everything that he ate. And I think he did this for maybe 30 days, maybe 3 months. I don't remember exactly how long, but he did it for a period of time. And also in the experiment was that if they asked him to supersize it, do you want to supersize it? He had to say yes. So this is what he did for whatever amount of time he did it for. And throughout the time of eating this food, he started to get extremely sick. Extremely sick. Gastrointestinal issues. He started to gain weight. His cholesterol was off the charts. He started to have high blood pressure. All of his lab work was like off the charts. You understand? So, and then of course at the end of the documentary, he showed how the food, the McDonald's food, never decays. It never decays, right? So it was from that I said, all right, I'm done. I'm done with McDonald's, never eating McDonald's again. That was probably back in like 2009 or 2010, something like that. And I swore off of it. But I also became kind of obsessed with watching these documentaries. So I started watching What the Health. Y'all need to be writing these down if you're trying to learn how to decolonize your diet, okay? What the Health, Forks Over Knives, Food Inc. was another one. And this one that I recently watched was called They're Trying to Kill Us. It's by a brother here on Instagram by the name of Badass Vegan. It was good. It was a good documentary. So this is where you want to start, is educating yourself on the food system, because sometimes when people tell you what to do, you don't understand the reasoning behind it. I could tell you why I eat organic. I could tell you why I avoid certain things, and some people think it's a fad. It's not a fad. If you understood what was happening to your meat, to the food industry, to the things that you buy, packaged foods, and how it's actually affecting your body, you would understand why. But it's a journey that everybody has to take for themselves. So you have to educate yourself. That's step number one. Okay. Also, you want to get, so let's go to step number two. Step number two is to learn from your African-centered holistic healers. Okay. This is where you're going to get the food education from an African-centered perspective. This is what I did as well. I started making certain changes to my diet based on what I learned from those documentaries. There were certain foods that I realized had ingredients in it, certain packaged foods like the high fructose corn syrup. I learned what GMOs were, and I started avoiding foods that had those things in it. But I didn't have a complete understanding of nutrition at that time until I learned from my African holistic health practitioners. That was back when I lived in New York, and I found what's called the African Holistic Health Chapter of New York. You all can Google that. I believe they're here on Instagram and Facebook as well. So even if you're not in the New York area, a lot of practitioners work virtually, so you can still work with them. You can find out the information and you can still work with them. That's a great place to start. Okay. And that was when I started to learn that a lot of the holistic modalities that we're told are new age is actually ancient. It's actually ancient. So meditation, mindfulness, yoga, this is all a part of creating a whole lifestyle in regards to your nutrition and your health. It's not just about the food. Okay. So, you know, you have your yoga, you have your sound therapy, you have your affirmations. This is actually all ancient stuff. And when some groups of people talk about it, the furthest back they go to is China or India. They never tell you about the African origins of all of these sciences. And that is crucial in your healing. That is crucial in your health, to see yourself, your culture in your own healing experience. It was my first teacher in Fundisha Jehutimis who taught me that your healing is in your culture, that your culture is actually the medicine. Do you understand? So you learn how to heal yourself through your own African holistic health practitioners. And if you don't know where to find them, this is where you find them. This is what it looks like. It's the herbalists in your community, the African-centered herbalists. It's the Kemetic yoga teachers, okay? It's the historians, the ones who are teaching you ancient classical African history, teaching you about ancient Kemet and about all of the other ancient African civilizations. Those are the holistic healers. They're the naturopaths, okay? It's the spiritualists. It's the Reiki practitioners and master teachers, okay? It's the wellness consultants. It's the astrologists, the numerologists. I know when I say these terms, people connect it to something new age and you have no idea, you can't see the connection. You're gonna have to go to where they are in order to see that connection. It's even those who are teaching African dance, okay? Those are the keepers of the culture. Okay. Even your EFT therapists as well. So you want to find people who are part of the African diaspora who are culturally rooted in what they're doing. And that's where you're going to find people who can give you a holistic mind, body, spirit, and physical whole perspective of how to heal yourself, right? And how to bring yourself back into balance. Peace to you, the It Girl. Okay, peace to you. So this is where you find them. This is where you find them in your city. Every city is different. New York is a place where it's very, very easy to find them. Not every city is like that, okay? In your city, what you want to do is go to the African or Black festivals in your city, okay? Go to the Black festivals in your city. That's where you're going to find them. That's one of the places. Let me see what this person said. Alternative Knowledge Science says, notice that the color black absorbs everything, whereas consuming white foods can be harmful to our health, especially for people with darker skin. Okay, dua. So you want to go to those events. It would be like cultural events. When I say go to the Black events in your city, I'm not talking about the ratchet events. That's not what I'm talking about. You know the difference. I'm not talking about like places where they're going to be turning up. It's going to be a whole lot of drinking, smoking, all of that. I'm talking about the cultural events, right? Certain things that are centered around African food, African dance, things like that. That's where you're going to find them, all right? Also going to African dance classes. A lot of people there will be connected to the healers in your community. Some of the healers in the community are there in the classes as well. Those herbalists and natural health and wellness consultants. Okay. You want to go to the Black herbal shops in your communities. Okay. Those herb shops, your little shea butter shops. They have a lot of books in there that can help you. Typically they have herbs in there that will help you. You want to go to your Black owned juice bars as well in your community. That's where you'll start to get used to those flavors. You'll start to get used to cleaner foods, juicing, raw foods. Go to your Black owned raw food shops. There's a difference in the vibration when you go to, white owned raw food shops versus like those Rasta shops or those Black owned juice bars. They have so much more culture there, and the ingredients that they use in the food is different. You understand? Whereas you'll go to some of these white owned raw food shops and they serve you like a piece of avocado toast for $25 or something like that, and you don't really get nothing out of it. It's not giving what it's supposed to give. You have to go to those Black owned shops and you'll get the information and the food that's really going to nourish you. You understand? What else? Also go to those healers for services, okay? Even like your Black massage therapist. Conferences is another place that you want to go to. Those Black conferences such as ASCAC, okay? ASCAC is, I'm not even going to try to remember what the acronym is for, but look it up, ASCAC, ASCAC. That's a great place to start. Different African-centered conferences. This is where you will find them. Okay, this is where you will find those African-centered healers who can point you in the right direction, get you off of a lot of those pharmaceuticals, but you have to get yourself on a program. Okay, most of the time you're going to have to get yourself on somebody else's program because you're already so used to doing things a particular way. Living in the Western society, everything is set up for you to do things their way. You have to literally reprogram yourself to see nutrition, health, and wellness a different way. And those are the keepers of the culture, okay, who've actually studied it and can tell you. All right? Remember, again, if somebody has a plan to oppress you, you need to have a plan to unoppress yourself. So I'm giving you the plan, okay? So this is, oh, speaking of, Speaking of holistic healers, that would be me, okay? For those of you who are new to me and you've never seen me before, my name is Ba Nasset. I am a licensed registered nurse. I'm also a wellness coach and an energy healer, okay? I am currently teaching a course called High Vibration Nutrition. I wrote a book called High Vibration Nutrition, and this is the program that's going to accompany the book and to assist those who have gone through like my 21-day detox, which is also a part of this program, in changing your nutrition and really understanding and overstanding health from a holistic perspective, from an African-centered perspective. In the program, we're talking about nutrition and the frequency and vibration of the food and how it affects the physical body, how to recognize which foods are going to raise your vibration towards health and which foods lower your vibration, causing sickness and eventually death. Okay, we also talk about cultural nutrition, how the lands that you come from, the area that you come from in the world, how it affects your nutrition. Okay, and so much more. There's a lot that I'm giving you. As a 4-week course, and the enrollment, the open enrollment for it closes today. Okay, by midnight it closes today. I've been talking about it for a few weeks, so today is actually the deadline for it. We start on June 1st. Okay, we start June 1st. So yes, now step 3. Oh, where to get that, of course. If you want to find out more about that, visit me at kemeticwellness.com/HVN. HVN for High Vibration Nutrition. Okay? kemeticwellness.com/HVN. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's somewhere on my YouTube. It's somewhere in one of the links, okay? If you're watching this on Instagram, it's somewhere in one of the links. I'm always going to give y'all the links, okay? All right, so step 3, right? Step 3 is actually changing your diet now. All right, step 1 was educating yourself. Step 2 is connecting with the African holistic health practitioners in your city. And step 3 is actually changing your diet. Okay? Once you've properly educated yourself, you've unlearned a lot of the ways of Western culture in terms of diet and nutrition and health. You now have to actually implement what you know so that you can change your health, your physical health, your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. Okay? All right. I'm just reading my little notes so that I make sure I do not miss what I wanted to tell you all. Okay? So a lot of people do this, or they attempt to do this on their own, and they're not as successful. They're not as successful. I've had plenty of people, plenty of friends who go vegan, supposedly go vegan, and they're eating all the wrong things. There are a lot of people who are trying to do it on their own, and it's not working out for them because they simply don't have the information. They don't have the right information. And also they don't have the willpower because they're around other people who aren't doing it, okay, who aren't doing the same thing, who aren't living the same lifestyle. You have to become a part of a community where this is the way that everyone is living. Otherwise, if you stay around your same people, it's kind of like somebody who's on drugs, okay? It's kind of like somebody who's on drugs and they are trying to go sober. And their whole crew, all your friends, your family, the people you used to hanging out with, they're all on drugs, okay? If you continue hanging out with them, what do you think the chances are that you're going to be able to quit? Probably about 0, okay? Probably about 0. So you're going to have to become a part of a community, which is why I do programs. I don't just teach things on online. I give some information so that you know that I know what I'm talking about. But I know that a lot of people watch things and they just go on to the next. You have to really kind of insulate yourself into a group who's doing the same things, where you have support, where you can talk about the things that you're struggling with. That's another thing. If I do this with you online like this, and there's no accountability, there's no way for you to tell me what your struggles are so that I can assist you and walk you through it, you do whatever you want to do. And usually it's going to be what you know. Okay. Let me see. Malkia Things says, I need this. Been trying to find my community since we did Sacred Woman. Okay. Well, we're here. I'm here. Okay. As I was saying earlier, the High Vibration Nutrition Program, which I'm teaching June 1st, which is tomorrow, the open enrollment ends today. Okay, so you can send me a message after this. I don't think the names stay up here, so I won't be able to find you. So send me a message if you would like. Hey Juliet, hey Juliet. Oh, I was just thinking about you recently. I was just thinking about you. So happy to see you on here. Okay, so yes, you're going to want to. Hey, Queen. Okay, so you're definitely going to want to change your diet. Okay, you're gonna have to find the alternatives to what it is that you were eating. Now that you know what you're not supposed to be eating, you're going to want to find what you are supposed to be eating. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. You just don't have the answers on their own, and you need the guidance. Okay. A lot of people feel like just because it's easy and this is the way things are set up, this is what you have to go along with. You do not have to eat poison just because it's sitting in front of you. Okay. And this is a part of the mindset of decolonization. This is a part of the mindset. It's really one of sovereignty. It's one of freedom, and it's one of accepting responsibility over your own life and your experiences in this life. Because I feel like a lot of us have somewhat of a victim mentality, that this is what they are doing to us. Just because somebody set a trap for you, that doesn't mean you have to jump down in the trap. Okay? Once you know that there's a trap there, you can avoid it. Okay? So, yes, they're going to make it difficult for you. Yes, they're going to make it difficult for you. But you don't have to fall for it. There are other alternatives, and it's up to you to learn what the alternatives are and to choose it, even if it's difficult at first. Even if it's difficult. Okay? You're going to see that when you actually do begin to change your diet, other things change as well. Okay? Juliet says, yes, especially when you know it's a trap. Okay? Yeah, especially when you know it's a trap. But some of y'all just be jumping down there and acting like you a victim. No, you're not. You're making the choice every single day to stay in that trap. Okay? I'm trying to give y'all a rope. I'm trying to give y'all a rope. It's up to you if you want to climb out. Okay? All right. So you're going to feel how different you feel once you start to actually change your diet. When I did my very first 21-day detox, I did it with, I'm not going to say I had no knowledge, because I was in school for nursing. I graduated as a nurse. I also read a lot of books on nutrition. I had an interest in health really for my whole life. I didn't have the information then that I have now on African holistic health, but I had something. And I used what I learned from my background in health, and also from what I learned through those documentaries, to create a plan, a 21-day detox. And I did that back in 2012 for the first time. I decided I was not going to have alcohol during that time for those 21 days. No alcohol, no coffee, no processed foods. So that means no canned foods, boxed foods, microwave foods, none of that crap. Okay? No meat and no dairy. That's what I did for 21 days. I didn't know, I didn't have all the answers, but that's what I did. That's where I started. And I noticed after the 21 days, first off, I lost 15 pounds. That felt good. 15 pounds easily. On top of that, I felt better. I felt better. Like mentally, I felt better. I didn't do anything else. I didn't change where I went. I didn't change, my workout routine. I didn't change anything else. I literally only changed the types of foods that I was eating. A lot of y'all are just gonna fall off when y'all hear about not eating meat or dairy or alcohol for 21 days. All right. All right. So that was what I did, and I felt so much better just in that short period of time. Okay. I also noticed that my digestion felt better. Like, things are gonna move. Okay. Things are gonna move when you start eating a lot cleaner, because you have a lot more fiber in your diet. You also have a lot more high water content foods when you're eating more natural fruits and vegetables. So things are gonna move. Okay, y'all know what I mean. All right. The fourth step, right? And this is the most important step when it comes to decolonizing your diet. The fourth step is to reconnect with the land. Okay? So if you notice all the steps, I actually named the same things that they did to colonize our diet. I named all the 4 steps, except we're going backwards to take our power back. And the last thing is to reconnect with the land. And there's several ways that you can do this. Okay? There's several ways. So the first most important thing when it comes to reconnecting with the land is that you begin to understand the connection between how your food grows and your nutrition. Sorry, Juliet says, can you give us one example of a food we can replace and what ethnic food we can replace it with? I can give you plenty of examples. So, for example, white rice, right? Instead of eating white rice, which a lot of it has been, it's even fake, like they're even making plastic rice now, replace that with quinoa. You can replace that with quinoa. You can even replace it with wild black rice, which is so high in mineral content. Thank you for that question. That was a great question. Okay. Very, very high in mineral content. And you'll taste the difference. You'll taste the difference, and you'll taste the difference in the way that you feel. A lot of people will get on this no carb thing and they'll be like, I just can't eat rice. No, there's a difference in eating that white rice, which has been enriched, meaning that sounds like something good, but it's not a good thing. It means that they took all the minerals out of it and they had to add some synthetic minerals in it so you can even process it. Okay, it's not a good thing when you see enriched. Okay, so that white rice, which is completely void of minerals, switching it to wild rice is going to make the difference. Okay, great question. Okay, so you want to make a connection between how your food is grown, which is going to connect you back to the earth. It's going to ground you. Okay, it's going to ground you. When you become connected to the earth again, it connects you back to your spiritual self. Okay, there's a huge thing that's done by disconnecting you from the earth. You become less clear. You become less aware of the oneness, meaning how everything and everyone and everything that exists is connected. You become less aware of that when you're disconnected from the earth, right? So you want to reconnect yourself back to the earth. It's going to give you more clarity on what is real and true. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people don't understand what's really going on in this world and why people are so easily tricked by false flags, false news, false media, is because we're so disconnected from what is real and true. You're not even connected to the earth that you're living in. Okay? Juliet says, so glad you didn't say brown rice. She said, whew, I can get down with some quinoa. Do I? Okay, good, thanks. I'm glad you like the quinoa. I'm glad you like the quinoa. Wild rice actually tastes a lot better than brown rice to me. To me, it tastes very, very good. Malkia Things says, is this why mental issues appear? Yes. 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 All mental illness is a disconnection from reality. It's a disconnection from reality, from what is real and true. Lies cause mental problems, okay? Depression is a disconnection from being present. You're thinking about what happened in the past, all the things that went wrong in your life. Anxiety is a disconnection from being in the present. You're thinking about all the horrible things that could go wrong. They ain't even happened yet, but you just focus on what could happen, what could go wrong, and let your mind get carried away. Okay? Take you to some place that's something that's not even happening. Okay? Because we're disconnected from what is real and true. You see yourself in this, Malkia? I feel you. I've been there. I've been there. That's how I know. That's how I know. Okay? So, it's going to connect you to what's real and true. Natural foods have a certain vibration in them that keep us aligned with nature. Okay? Natural foods have a certain vibration. They're on a certain frequency that keep us in alignment with nature. Artificial foods have a vibration of 0. They have a frequency of 0. There's nothing that it can give to you. Okay? Dua Juliet. Juliet says, great teaching. Thank you. I appreciate you. Right? Okay, so the ways in which you can begin to connect with nature again, or connect with the land. First, you want to go out into nature, okay? Go out into nature. Go out hiking. Go out into the parks, okay? This is one of the easiest ways that you can begin to reconnect yourself to nature. A lot of us, I'll hear people say, I'm not a nature person. What do you mean? It's not something that's separate from you. And this is what I'm talking about, again, with being connected to the oneness, the all, and seeing yourself as a part of that. You actually have people say, I'm not a nature person. You are a part of nature. It is not separate from you. Okay? So actually going out into nature, go out for hikes. Join a hiking group near you. Join a black one, okay? Join a black one, please. Do not go out with them people and let them push you off of a cliff somewhere, okay? Okay? Please join a black one. Touch grass. Juliet says touch grass, hug a tree, for real. Yes. Go out in nature. Spend time. Put your feet on the grass. Okay? Visit a botanica. That's a great way. Visit a botanica. Go to the beach. Go to the waterfalls. Okay? That's one of the easiest ways to start to reconnect with the land. Okay? Now, some other ways is you want to begin to grow your own food. Now, I know everybody's not going to do this. I know everybody's not going to do this. I know everybody doesn't want to do this. I heard somebody online say the other day, you could forget about me growing my own food. I could barely grow my own edges. And I feel you. I feel you. Okay? So I know everybody is not going to do this, but for those of you who can and you want to, start growing your own food. Okay? Malkia says, is it wise to detox during a severe deficiency? The detox is actually removing those foods that are causing the deficiency. And the foods that are causing the deficiency are those processed foods. It doesn't mean that you're removing all foods. It's not a fast. It means that you're removing the foods that are causing problems for you, and you are introducing those mineral-rich foods. That's what I call my 21-day vegan detox. Okay? Julia laughing. She said, you did not say push you off a cliff. Yes. Yes, that really happens. That really happens. I don't know if y'all saw the story recently of this brother who was out with, I think he was out with his co-workers, and one of the women pushed him off of a bridge or something into the water. He almost drowned and died. And like a fool, he in the hospital talking about, I forgive you. Whew. Now, if y'all don't stop with that foolishness, talking about you forgive these people trying to kill you, please stop. They really do this. You don't know how many black folk go out with their white friends and never come back. Going out into the wilderness with these people, you have to be slow. Okay, couldn't be me. Malkia says, I want to grow my own food. She says, thank you. I'm glad that you want to grow your own food. If you have, even if you don't have a garden, let's start from the basics. If you have just an apartment, right, and you have a windowsill, you can start there. You can start by actually planting your own basil, peppermint, plant herbs that you can eat, that you can grow easily. You can plant tomatoes. These are things that can easily grow in a windowsill. If you have a window, you good. You can start there. If you have a balcony, even better. If you have a backyard, oh, you're in business. You're in business, okay? My mom is Jamaican. She grew up in the country, okay? She's from Mandeville in Jamaica, and she always planted her own food. So I always saw plants in my home. I didn't understand it then, but as I grew older, you know, and I saw how much she got from planting, and she actually fed us with that food. Like, we actually were able to eat. We didn't have to go to the supermarket. She planted lettuce in the backyard. She planted all different types of peppers, Scotch bonnet peppers, green, red peppers. She planted potatoes, sweet potatoes. What else? Kale. She planted kale. She planted so much food, tomatoes, just everything. So you can get really, really good at it. It's actually very healing to be in there, you know, digging up the dirt and caring for something outside of yourself. So that's one of the ways that you can reconnect with the land. And the more you begin to work with it, the more you open up energetically. You open up more ways for you to have access to more land. There are also community farming activities. So you can go on Eventbrite, go to even your local library and find out about events where there's community farms where you can plant that way. And most of the time when you go there and you help farm, you can actually take home some of the produce as well. Okay? So these are some of the ways that you can connect with the land. Ahasa. Welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, so that's one of the ways. Okay, buy some dirt. When I say buy some dirt, I'm talking about get you a plot of land when you are able to afford it. So that needs to be one of the things that you're thinking about when you have your mind to gain degrees of separation from this system and from this culture. Buy some land when you have the opportunity. That needs to be on your list, on your long-term planning for yourself, whether it is a house or even some land outside of the United States. Buy some dirt, okay? Something that you can actually own so you can have some control over your food source, right? But for those of us who are not there yet, some of the other things that you can do is find a local farmer's market. Find yourself a local farmer's market that's going to have good produce. get yourself to the shops in your area that have good produce. For me, what I will do is I will find ethnic shops in my area. So I'll find like a local Korean market, because they tend to have better produce there, fruits with seeds, tropical fruits. I just went food shopping before I did this video. Okay, so I'll find those tropical fruits that I want, the rambutan, the dragon fruit, the baby bananas, the ones that still have seeds in them. Okay, those are places you want to go to. The Mexican markets, a lot of them have good produce in them. Sometimes you'll find a good African market or a good Caribbean market. Find those ethnic markets in your community where you can get good produce. Okay. Another thing that was recently recommended to me was CSAs. CSAs. CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. Community Supported Agriculture. This is where you can find out about the local farmers in your area and purchase from them. Purchase from them. I'm sure they will be happy for the business. Okay. You can visit www.localharvest.org to find a CSA near you. Okay. Localharvest.org. All right. And this is my last tip. If you live in a food desert, okay, if you live in a food desert, these are my tips for you. You're going to have to drive to where there is produce, okay, where there is good produce. If you live in a neighborhood where within a 5 to 10 block radius, all the supermarkets have pretty much junk food in it, the produce is not that great, you're going to have to drive to the nicer neighborhoods where they have good produce, okay? You have to do what you have to do until you can eventually possibly move to one of those neighborhoods, okay? If you want to stay in your neighborhood, there's no such option as, well, I'm going to stay here and I'm only just going to eat what they have available to me. You have to do things that's going to bring what you need into your community, or you need to just leave or go where what you need is. So either you need to be the one to create a market in your community, okay? A supermarket, a food market, okay? It needs to be you. All right. Or move. That's it. That's it. I don't understand why people would stay in an area where you're starving. I don't understand that. You are not a tree. Okay, you are not planted in the ground. You do not have to stay in one place. You can move. So if the area that you're living in is literally starving you, move. Move. If it's too far away for you to drive to what you need and get what you need, then you have to move, or you have to be the one to create it and bring those things in. Either you have to be the one to start creating a community garden where you are actually planting those things there in the community, or you have to start a market where you make connections with farmers that are, you know, somewhat local within the same state, and you can bring those things there. Or you need to move. You need to move. Again, we're in a mindset of solutions, bringing solutions into our life. We're not in a victim mind state. Just because somebody creates conditions that are difficult for you, it doesn't mean that you just sit in it. You have to find a way out of it. So those are my solutions to you for how to decolonize your diet. I hope that this video was helpful to you all. I want to thank everybody who was here for all of your questions. Actually, the questions and the comments make the live. It just makes it, and it does it for me. So thank you all for watching. If you do want my assistance, you can visit me at KemeticWellness.com. And if you're interested in the High Vibration Nutrition Program, you can visit KemeticWellness.com/HVN and sign up today, because the enrollment closes today. Okay? And thank you, Malkia. Thank you. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace.